This is a detailed review of the Extech EX430. It's a digital multimeter with auto ranging, and it is true RMS. What did I pay for this? I paid $57.90. I don't remember for sure, but I think it was just Amazon. This one's pretty easy to get. So this one has a basic DC accuracy of 0.3% plus two digits, which is actually pretty good. It's a little better than average. Display resolution is only 4,000 counts, but that's in this price range. It's kind of 50-50 whether it's 4,000 or 6,000. It'll measure frequency to 10 megahertz. It'll measure capacitance only to 100 microfarad, which is pretty crappy. So at that point, I don't even know why they include capacitance measurement capability when there are a lot of caps that you won't even be able to measure. It's pretty weak. I guess it's better than not having one, but yeah, I don't know. That's not... Probably, I think the Radio Shack one is the only one that has a worse measurement range for capacitance, to be honest. It'll measure resistance to 40 mega ohm. So Extech it's a pretty good reputable name brand, and I don't know when they were acquired by FLIR, but they are now a company under FLIR, the company that makes all those thermal cameras and such, and they actually have their own multimeter under their brand name now, or multiple maybe. But these Extechs, the EX series, it's pretty widely known that these are rebranded CEM, which are Chinese multimeters, which is why you'll see a resemblance with a lot of the stuff like the battery door and the way the kickstand on this works. You'll see some resemblances to some of the cheaper Chinese ones that I've reviewed. It's because it's made by the same OEM. Unfortunately, that OEM is not known for being super high quality, and in fact, I think Extech, if you were to ask them and they were to be honest with you, would probably tell you that they regret doing business with them, because they've been plagued with just tons of quality control problems. And funny enough, this one had a problem with it. If you go watch my multimeter shootout, I don't remember which video it was. I think it was one where I was probably talking about physical build quality, because then I would be holding it in my hands. I heard rattling, and then in a later, because I did it in 9 parts, in a later video I took it apart and found, like a pretty good sized chunk of solder had like fallen off, like an extra solder blob got inside there and was rattling around, and man, not only could that fry the unit, that could potentially cause some serious safety issues. And plus, the input jacks are at the bottom. So if it's sitting up on your bench, especially if you use the higher setting like this, like I usually do to save real estate on top of my workbench, gravity pulls it to the bottom. And it was probably, I would say, half the width of, well, you'll see it in the video, but I think it's like half the width of a dime, an American 10-cent piece. So it's a good sized blob, and if it fell to the bottom down there, man, that could cause you some serious problems, because any kind of isolation slots or gaps you have between all your different components down there, if that lands down there, that could bridge the gap or close it down to a short enough distance that you could get arc, and that would be really, really bad. So yeah, that's a pretty bad quality control issue, and I'm not the only person who's had that. Go Google search Extech EX and then pick your number and type in problems, quality control issues, PCB, teardown. You will find tons and tons of pictures and threads and complaints about people having problems with them. Now Extech knows this, and they have really good customer support, and they'll admit that they've had their share of problems with these, but they won't hesitate to help you out. They'll get your unit replaced, and they'll take care of it. But that being said, though, it makes it really hard to want to buy one of these Extechs and trust them with your life, because they have had some issues. If you watch Dave Jones, I think it was the $50 multimeter shootout. He had an Extech EX430, I think. It's the little shorter one. It's kind of the size of the circuit test and the Southwire, and those are also the same OEM, I believe. Yeah, and so the bottom around the corner, the PCB is pretty thin. Even on this one, actually this one might not even be. It might be missing the whole chunk over there. They might have revised it or something, but it was broken off, and someone hand soldered some really thick hookup wire to go between both ends where it was broken off, because there was actually a trace that went through there, and it looked bad. And even on the replacement they sent him, you opened it up and it had all these bunched up through-hole components in the middle, which you complained about. And I don't remember if it was the original one or the replacement one, but I think it was the original one. Maybe there was a resistor, or no, was it a resistor? I don't remember. It was a through-hole component, and it was bent over, almost touching one of the current jacks. I think it was probably the milliamp microamp current jack. And that kind of stuff, that's serious, especially when you're talking about safety. If your meter blows up, it just dies. It's not that big of a deal, you can just buy another one. Granted, you'll be pissed about it that, your money went to waste, but if it's something having to do with safety, that's a pretty big deal. And you don't ever hear about that kind of stuff with the Fluke, ever. I really honestly don't remember reading a single story about a Fluke ever having quality control problems. If it is, it's like a single little one-off. As were these, man, it's hard to search for Extech EX something without finding links to people having problems with these, Now, once you get a good one, if you get a lemon and they replace it, they seem to be fine. And the one I got seems to be fine. I've not had any problems with it other than the really sketchy solder blob in there. How do they not? You think they'd pick it up and inspect it and hear it rattling and think, oh, red light, this thing has a problem. A component fell off or something, because something in there's rattling, and that's a serious issue. But no, they freaking boxed it up and mailed it out anyways. That's it's pretty crappy. But like I said, though, their customer support's great, and people like the company. And I have other Extech equipment. I don't think I have any other Extech multimeters, but I have a 4-channel temperature logger, and that thing is sweet. So they make great products, or they at least actually, I don't think they make anything. I think they rebrand everything, but they should make their own stuff. It'd probably be a lot better than this rebranded Chinese crap that they've been using for the EX series. Now, there's another series. Is it the MM series? Crap, I don't remember what series it is, but they share internals with. They're basically rebranded Brymans, and those are good. Those I don't think I've seen any complaints about as far as quality control. So, yeah, but with this one, it's just, yeah. Extech's a great brand. Don't get me wrong, and their customer support, from what I've heard, is pretty good, and they're really responsive too. I've seen them get on, for example, Dave Jones, his forums, and they'll respond to people, and they seem like they're really cool. And I like companies that they get involved with the community. That's really good. But just had to mention that these have had some quality control issues. So if you decide to get one, just make sure you pop it open immediately and make sure yours does not have anything scary inside before you go doing anything with it. And if anything, if you're going to get the EX series, just assume that you probably shouldn't try anything dangerous with it, because it's just not worth it's not worth the risk. But that doesn't mean you're not going to get a perfect one that has no problems and then it'll last you for many years and it's super accurate and you love it to death. You probably could and probably will, but yeah, it's the track record. Without the track record, it's really hard to trust something, especially when it comes to spending your hard-earned money. So I think I've rambled on enough about that, but I just have to put that out there. I don't want to recommend a multimeter to someone that's going to potentially get them hurt or have a bunch of problems, end up being a lemon. And if you're international and you order something stateside and then you have problems with it, a lot of companies will make you pay for shipping, and shipping internationally can cost a lot of money and it can take a lot of time, and that's a pretty big pain. So if I remember correctly, this one came in retail packaging, like a blister package, the ones that are really hard to get open. But it was nicely packed, and I wouldn't worry about it getting hurt during shipment or anything. So it came with a manual, and being an American brand, it's got a really great English manual with diagrams and pictures and charts. But what really gets me, though, they gave me a black and white paper manual, which is important. It's got information on safety and specs and all kinds of stuff. And then they give me this nice glossy advertisement for their other accessories and products. It's like, come on. You're going to tell me you're willing to spend money to print a nice color glossy advertisement, but you can't print me a color manual. That bugs me a little bit. But yeah, it's a really stupid minor complaint. Just me complaining to complain, but still though, isn't that kind of crappy? This is obviously to make them more money. This is for, you know, what you paid for, and this is just cheap black and white paper, and then this is glossy color. It's like, keep this out of my packaging that I paid for and give me a better manual. Not to say the manual's not bad. It's probably one of the better ones of the bunch. It's an actual booklet. It's in one language, English only, and it's, you know, got full diagrams and stuff. So the manual itself's good. It just, when I see them throw, you know, higher quality advertisement pamphlets in here, you know, that are better materials than the manual, it kind of irks me a little bit. But that's, nobody else would probably care about that. That's just me being me. It also came with a hanging strap, which is cool. A lot of, actually not very many companies include them. It's not magnetic, but at least, you know, they give it to you. And I think, yeah, there's nothing on the top that you hook it to. You just fold the kickstand all the way up, and then you can put that through. So it's actually a decent design. I don't mind that at all. It's all right. It's not good or bad. It'd be better if it were a magnetic one, but hey, if you've got something you can wrap this around and you can hang it up, that's could be useful. And it's free, so you can't really complain about free. Comes with a nice thermocouple, and it's actually the adapter type, so I like that. So if this goes bad or you think you want to get a better quality one, you could buy one and just plug it into here, and this plugs into your multimeter. So I like that. Nothing. You guys have probably heard me mention this if you've seen any of my other multimeter reviews. They sell these, and a lot of the spacing for this type of stuff isn't always standard. They should be, but they do sell adapters. And sometimes you can get one for different brands and they'll fit, but it's not a guarantee, and so I prefer when they come with one. But if it doesn't come with one, you technically probably could buy a different one from a different brand or a generic one, and it would probably work, but you just need to make sure that it'll fit first, because the spacing is not always standard. It should be. Also came with a CD, which I guess it says product manual, so that's probably like a nice color PDF or something. So at least they included that. I guess they earned some points back for that. Okay, so let's talk physical build quality. I can hear the screen or something clicking, but I mean, it feels super tough though, and it's got a really good rubber surround on it. Nothing that I'd complain about. It feels great, and it's not really twisting at all. I hear a clicking or something, but I mean, I'm putting a lot of force on it, so, and maybe that could just be, yeah, that's probably just a kickstand moving or something. But yeah, it feels super tough and rugged. It's a little lightweight, but I think it just has a 9 volts. Does it? Yeah, 9 volt. 9 volts are considerably lighter than AAAs or AA's, but yeah, feels pretty light. Kickstand is great, actually. I like it. It's a type that has little, kind of like a car door. It's got little stopping points. So here's the first stopping point, second stopping point, third, fourth. So you can have it way back, midway, up high, and it's adjustable, and I like that a lot. It's fine, and I can turn the rain switch without it falling over. I can push the buttons. Excellent kickstand. I really like that a lot. I have zero complaints, and it's cool that it can double as a hanger. Now, if you've seen the video of my Agilent U1253B multimeter, I bought the magnetic hanging kit for it, and you have to remove the kickstand and remount it upside down to use it for the hanging kit, and that pisses me off. This one, you just fold it up. There's no tools required. I can turn it right back into a kickstand, and then turn it right back into a hanger. It doesn't matter. So, in case you thought of that, that's why I don't mind this one, but on the one in the Agilent I do. I think that one even took some screws to pull out, I think. I don't remember for a fact. No, it might have just been like plastic detents that held it on, but either way, it's annoying that I had to fully remove the thing and remount it. But I'm rambling on like I do, sorry. But yeah, I think this would be pretty damn durable. It's one of the few that actually has a good thick rubber holster that is not integrated. So this one would probably be one of the tougher ones of the bunch. So the probes, don't even say Extech on them, and these look very, very similar to a lot of the other really cheap Chinese ones that come with, well, I mean, any of the other ones that are basically rebranded CEMs. So yeah, they kind of feel like cheap crap, but they have pretty decent finger guards on them, and it's pretty pointy. So pointiness is probably above average. Yeah, it's the kind of not very pliable type of cable, PVC or whatever it is. But I mean, it's rated and branded. So yeah, it's not terrible. And it's got pretty good strain relief actually. And just standard 90-degree plugs, good strain relief on those. Yeah, they're not terrible, but they're kind of cheap. It's being the name brand, you would expect nicer ones, like the BK Precision, for example. You know, it's one of the name brand ones, and it has considerably nicer probes than these. Okay, let's talk range switch. It's okay, but it's kind of one that you feel like after it wears out, after a while, where you know you can get it stuck between ranges, and it's not too terribly hard to get it between ranges. On a lot of other multimeters, it's almost impossible to do that, because the way the force, if you were to graph the way the force increases and then goes back down, I mean, it's like really sharp Rocky Mountains versus this is more like the Appalachians, where it's like rounded. Takes quite a bit of force, but then it starts going down in the other direction, so it doesn't pull and click into the next range very hard. It's kind of mushy. Not great, and I think I remember other people complaining about these not being that great. And if this is a CEM, I think the circuit test is also, and man, that is the worst I've ever felt. So this is better than that. But, you know, during normal use, it's going to be fine. It doesn't feel great, but feel isn't everything. I'm sure this will probably last a long time and it'd be perfectly fine. But if I have to compare it to the other ones, this is probably one of the, maybe in the bottom 5 of the 15 multimeters for the $50 shootout, maybe even bottom 3. It doesn't feel very good. And there's not a lot of force making it notchy and snapping it into the next range. It's just kind of, yeah, I don't know. So it'll do current, and it's kind of the weird off in the middle position, which it doesn't bother me a lot. It is nice to have off on one end or the other, so you can just turn it all the way until you hit the end stop. But whatever, it's not that big of a deal. Amps on this side, and then you have, and unfortunately it's the shared type to where you have to hit select to switch between AC or DC, and I'm guessing, yeah, it looks like voltage is the same. And then you have resistance, diode, continuity, and one range, and I would assume you hit select to switch between the 3. Capacitance, which is almost unusable on this meter because it is such a weak range for such a high model. You would expect a better capacitance range than just 100 microfarad, but whatever. Frequency, duty cycle. And I don't see a frequency or duty cycle button, so I'm guessing you cannot do that in current or voltage modes like you can on some of the others. And it'll do temperature, and it came with a probe, which is nice. And it has the separate, it's the 4-jack type. The 3 type has the milliamps mixed with the voltage jack, and I don't like that because it makes it really easy to blow a fuse on accident. And I actually did that with the Radio Shack one during the Multimeter shootout. I don't know if I mentioned that in the videos or not, but yeah, I definitely prefer it this way. And unusually, most multimeters rate their bigger current, like the amps range jack, to 10 amps. This one is 20. And incredibly, it says for 30 seconds max. A lot of them only say like 10 seconds. So that could actually be handy for people who need to do really high current measurements. But yeah, I would still be careful because that's a lot of current. Okay, let's take a look at the display. Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of the really tall, exaggerated, thick and tall digits like that. But it's okay. I prefer just standard sized digits. It makes them so much easier to read them quickly. At a glance, it makes it hard to tell if these are 8s or 0s at a really quick glance. Like looking through my camera viewfinder, that's a problem you get with really tall digits. It makes it kind of harder to tell what they are versus just a standard proportion. These are like stretched tall, and yeah, I don't like that. But that being said, though, I mean that's just being really nitpicky. It's a really big display and really great contrast, and I honestly I wouldn't have any problems with seeing it from across my bench. To be honest, it's really big. Backlight is a little on the weak side, but that's always one of those things that I never use, and I'm sure if I had to use it, it would work perfectly fine. So, actually, I should probably do these where I show you. Can't read it? Now you can. So, yeah, I should probably start doing it that way, huh? Whenever I show backlights, so you can really see the effect. But, yeah, display I'd say is pretty good, and it feels like it's got a really good protection. This little plastic window feels very solid. Oh, we'll turn the backlight on and see how long it lasts. I hate the ones that only last for like 10 seconds. It just makes it pointless. But I'm not gonna sit here and wait forever. I think it's been 10 seconds and it's still going, so it's decently long. Maybe in a future video I'll set all 15 multimeters on the bench, turn the lights off, have my wife help me turn all the backlights on as quickly as possible, and then we'll see how long each one lasts. That could be kind of interesting. But I don't want to sit here forever, so we'll take a look at the battery and fuse situation now. Alright, we're in, or as Dave Jones would say, in like Flynn. So it takes 2 screws, or 2 machine screws that go into metal nuts molded into the chassis, and that's awesome. That means you can open this hundreds of times and it's not going to wear out. Fortunately, it's a 9-volt, but something tells me that this will probably still have pretty decent battery life, but we'll find out. And also, once again, the favorite of Dave Jones, Golden Power. Oh yeah. It's a battery snap. It's a soft type. I hate them, but it's probably got the most amount of slack out of all the ones with 9-volt soft snap. So I'll give it a little extra points for that, but it's still overall it's a 9-volt. It's a soft battery snap instead of the metal terminals. So yeah, it could be better, but can't complain too much, I guess. But excuse me. I think it's time to go ahead and just take it the rest of the way apart. Look inside and see what makes this thing tick. You can see it's got a window on the top for the other EX430 models. One has like a the IR spot thermometer. I guess it has a laser on it for telling where you're measuring the temperature from, but and then maybe another has like the non-contact voltage detect, so that's what this little window appears for. This model has neither. Alright, we are in. So it took 3 screws that are the self-tapping type, but it's not, I mean, it still sucks because you'd have to still take those out to get to the fuses, but at least the battery door took machine screws, so it's kind of a 50-50. Could be better. And due to my terrible memory, I already forgot what the inside of this guy looks like, but it's the 2-board construction type. So, fuses on the little top board, I guess, which if I remember correctly, I think just pulls off. Yeah. There we go. So they're the, that's especially freaking pathetic and wimpy, tiny, but at least they're ceramic fuses. 250 volt, 250 volt. Yeah, that's shit. That is just shitty. Come on, Extech, you can do better than that. 600 volt, 1000 volt. In my opinion, and probably a lot of people would agree, if your multimeter can measure 1000 volts on any either current or voltage, AC or DC, then all your fuses should meet that voltage spec, in my opinion. The fact that the lower voltage is 600 on here, and they're both 250 volt fuses, that is just pathetic. That's bad. I'm guessing this isn't, is it UL listed? That would shock me. Well, it says UL listed. Apparently they don't take into consideration fuse ratings, because that's a little... Maybe I need to do some reading. I'm really curious about that. Very, very curious. So, looks like we have a mauve. Really, really big one, if that's what that is. Being on the input board, I would imagine that's what that's got to be. And it uses 0.1 inch metal headers to connect to the main board, which I'm sure works fine. It's just sometimes these fit a little loose, but I guess these actually felt okay. And having two sets probably makes them fit more tightly, so that's good. 10 amp current shunt is in very interesting shape. Kind of like with, was it the Amprobe? And I think Amprobe uses some of the same for their lower models. I think they use some of the same OEMs, and that would explain why these two are split and these two are solid. It seems like they did the same thing, but of course, I think any of the ones that do the input jack detection do it this way. So then you have two halves, and then as you can see a little tiny trace going up, and does this side connect to anything? Maybe those are all common, but I'm guessing I don't know. I have to do some probing, but I'm guessing two of those are used to detect these two. I don't imagine. Yeah, and there's no way they'd be tied together, obviously, because you don't want to tie together your two ranges. But yeah, it's an interesting design having a second board like this. I guess it would give you better clearances too. So maybe that's why they did it like this. I don't know. But the fact that these 250 volt fuses, that's just, oh, come on. And it's not like this is low end meter. They have the 300 series below this, and then I'm pretty sure they have ones way below that too. This is a 430. This is like, what's the actual retail price? I think is probably closer to 100, like $80-$90 maybe. And for a meter of that price, you think it would come with properly rated fuses? But geez. So on the main board, well, actually, I should probably do this for everything. Give you a nice, good, steady shot of all the boards. That way I don't have to try to take pictures, because I'm not that great with my DSLR, to be honest. So, really weak and sad little PTC in the corner. And that's it. Now, it doesn't look like they really need, well, I don't know if they need them or not, but if you don't see isolation slots, I'm guessing it's because the isolation is actually the air gap between top board and the bottom one. But I don't know all the ins and outs of getting the certifications for multimeters, what all is required and what all they test and check. It'd be really interesting to see and to learn that. But this board has a lot of analog stuff on it, and a couple through-hole caps, bunch of through-hole resistors, bunch of unpopulated stuff over here. But this is the same, probably they use the same board for the different models, so maybe that's for like the non-voltage, a non-contact voltage detect, or maybe it's for the non-contact voltage or temperature sensor. I don't know. And I remember mentioning this before. It looks like it has 2 speakers, and that's... Actually, maybe this is a speaker. Maybe that one is the internal temperature sensor, maybe? I really don't know. That's, if anyone knows, let me know. I don't see anything on the silk screen to... Yeah, I don't see any clues. More through-hole caps, and a whole bunch more analog stuff here. And the main battery snap goes through a hole, probably as a means of strain relief, and I'm guessing that's where it's soldered. Yeah, it says 9-volt bat. Yeah, it's not. I mean, I'm not seeing anything that's jumping out and terrifying me. The only major thing I'm having a problem with is the voltage rating of these fuses. Now, there's super cheap Chinese meters like the Tech Powers and the Hold Peak and all those other junk ones. I understand those having crappy fuses that don't meet their voltage ratings, the CAT ratings. I mean, that's expected. We expect that kind of junk from China, but from a good American brand, even if they had a Chinese OEM make it, I can't believe they're okay with 250 volt fuses in there. But whatever. They're not the only ones to do that crap, so it looks like this is just a plastic plug for the models like this one. They don't have any of the other 2 features that you can get at the top. So I guess, well, let me pull it out and then we can get a better view of it. So I'm gonna go ahead and pull the board out and we'll look at the other side, and then I can give you a good steady shot of both sides for anyone who wants to take a closer peek. Okay, so I got it apart, and for anyone who has one and they're gonna take it apart, it looks like the top 2 screws don't have to come out. I was about to take this one out and I realized the front was already lifting out, and the top 2 actually go into the display. So I'm actually gonna put one back on. Well, do we want to look under there? Yeah, why not? It's a detailed review, right? Well, it doesn't look like we're going to be able to see a whole lot. Looks like the diffuser with the back... No, maybe that will come out. I thought I remember... Yeah, it comes out. So, there's the money shot, right? Semico. So, there's all the pads for the LCD. Those are the really weak green LEDs for the backlight, but hey, weak probably means better energy consumption, and maybe that'll make the battery on this go longer even with backlight use. And then this is the diffuser, which, as we saw, isn't actually a very good diffuser. But, looks like gold plating, but as I always say, I don't know for sure, so yeah, don't take my word for it. Well, I guess now that we've seen everything on the inside, I guess I can show you the inside of the front. There's it's interesting. I've never seen one with a full row of contacts plus one at the top. That's different. Looks like there's also one for the bottom. Maybe it's for one of the other models that has extra functionality. I'm not sure. It's interesting. And then your usual rubber buttons. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and put this back together, and then we'll take some measurements with it and see if it lives up to its name brand. Alright, it's time to do some measurements. So I guess we will start off with 5-volt reference. Yep, but being 4,000 counts, it only has two digits to the right of the decimal place, where if it had 6,000 counts display resolution, you would still have 3 at this point, but it's not a big deal. Accuracy is honestly more important than counts. Counts are handy, but accuracy is still probably the more important thing. Okay. And for no one's asked, but I'm surprised that people haven't asked. The reason I don't do the reason I don't do overshoot testing is because to me it's not really that important. I mean, obviously there are some multimeters out there like the Agilent one that are just lightning fast. You touch it to something and I mean it's locked on in just a split second. And there's some that overshoot. They'll have an intermediate reading, or they'll go just past before it settles back down, but most of them are pretty quick, and it's not that big of a deal to me. Obviously you can just pay close attention to the review when I do the measurements, and then you can just see for yourself if you see it overshoot, but it's not something I'm really going to cover because to me you'll know that if your meter does it or not, and if it does, you know to look out for it, so it's not too big of a deal. What bothers me more than overshoot are the meters that take forever to settle to like a resistance reading, for example. So I think we'll start off with continuity. See how it does. Now, it's not latched, but it's really quick. But it's super scratchy, like it's not getting a clean connection. Just out of curiosity, I don't remember, like I said, I have really bad memory, so I don't remember how this one did when I put on some better probes, but let's see what it does when you put on some gold-plated probe masters. Yeah, I love these probes. But yeah, continuity test on this is very, very good. Now, it's better with better set of probes like this, but it's still better than average, way better than average. So, continuity test for the Extech ISA is very good. Okay, let's try the auto ranging for resistance. That seemed very quick. Yeah, that's pretty quick. I'd say it's quicker than average. Now, let's check out the display update rate. And it's about 2 a second. That's normal-ish. Don't really have a comment, good or bad. It's just normal. So, let's go ahead and actually take some real resistance measurements. Here's 1K precision. Took a while to get there, but it's there, and now it is almost right on the money. 10K. It's interesting, when I just touched the leads together, it went straight from mega ohm range to its lowest range so quick. But when I actually have it connected to something, like an actual resistor, the ranging becomes slow. I don't understand that. It's bizarre. Maybe it's their way of preventing the resistance measurement from overshooting. Maybe it's like a rolling average type of thing. 100K is off a little bit, but usually resistance accuracy isn't anywhere near what the DC voltage accuracy is. I'm sure that's within spec. Okay, we'll do diode test. So obviously, any multimeter with a diode test will be able to test a silicone diode, but some of them, if they have a high enough forward voltage and they put out enough current, can also test LEDs. So we'll start off with, obviously the biggest one, we'll start off with one of these star LEDs that I dug out of the box the other day. Make sure I got the polarity right. Yeah, it's not lighting up to my eyes. Yeah, so star, fail. Bright white, which probably has a similar forward voltage, so it probably won't work, but it's worth a shot. Yeah, I'm not seeing anything. Red LED, hopefully at least. No, fail. Okay then, just to make sure it's working, here's a Schottky diode. Yep. So, don't buy this for testing LEDs because it can't. And that's really traditionally not what the diode test functionality is for. It's just something that people have gotten used to because a lot of these new meters are able to. Okay, well, this one has a really crappy capacitance measurement range, so maybe it can go really low. Oh, could help if we're in the capacitance range, huh? Let's try 100. Yep. Now, it said 100, just in case it's not. It's a mistype. Let's try 1,000 microfarad. Guessing I'll just say overload. So honestly, capacitance measurement is just crap. It's just way. Hey, there's your input detection, input jack detection. But yeah, the capacitance measurement range is just too small, especially for something in this price range. At least do 1,000. Okay, 1 milliamp. Precision current source. Sorry, there we go. Pretty close. Not as accurate as some of the other ones are, but I would imagine that's probably well within spec. Again, current is usually not as accurate on multimeters as voltage. And this is able to measure frequency, so we will go ahead and take some frequency measurement. It says it'll do 10 megahertz, so I'm going to go ahead and fire it straight to 10. Okay, got it hooked up, got my frequency generator set to 10 megahertz, here we go. Boom, right there, yeah. Let's see if it'll go any higher, just for grins. Yeah, I'll do 20. Let's try 30. Nope. So it'll do 20. Okay, so before we hook it up to the bench power supply and through another multimeter to test its current consumption and all that good stuff, let's just take a look at its other functionality, just to see what's up. So I'm gonna turn the backlight on. We'll see how long it goes before it turns off. But it's got hold, but it's a crappy type that just freezes the reading. Select obviously selects secondary functions. Oh, that's cool. So if you're in the voltage range and you hit select, it switches between volts and millivolts. So didn't know that actually. That's good. And then you have a manual ranging button, obviously for manually choosing a range whenever you find that to be handy. And then it's got rel. And it actually just says rel. So yeah, and that's all she wrote. This does have I don't see anything on the screen when I turn it on that shows anything about auto power off. So it has it, but I don't think that you can disable it. Let me check the manual. Okay, so this is one that has auto power off, but you can't disable it, and it's 15 minutes. So I'm gonna go ahead and hook it up to the bench power supply, and then we will see how it behaves when we turn the voltage down. Okay, so I have it hooked up to my bench power supply. I have it set to 9 volts, and I have it set to volts measurement, and I have it connected to my 5-volt reference. As you see, it's reading 5 on the dot. It does have a low battery indicator on here, according to the manual, so I'm just going to start turning it down 100 millivolts at a time, and we'll see what it does. There's... oh, already? So we're only at 8 volts. It's kind of the opposite of... what did I review yesterday? Was it... oh, it's the BK. The BK went forever before the battery thing turned on. This one, we're at 8 volts and it's already turned on. Okay, so 8.1 volts, the battery light, or battery indicator is not on. As soon as you hit 8 even, it turns on. So we're at 7.8. 77, 76, 75, 74, 73, 2, 1, 0. That's bizarre because 9-volt batteries are usually good down to like 5.5 to 6 volts, and we go 1 volt down from a fresh battery and it's already got the battery light. Unless it's a segmented one that just shows it getting lower, but I don't think that's the case. But 6.6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Oh, okay, I totally missed. Okay, 6.5, 6.6 maybe? Nope. 6.7. Nope. Let's try 7. What? Wow, this thing is just honestly pissing away a lot of the energy in that damn battery. That's crazy. Let's try 7.2. Okay. 7.4. Seven, 6. Is it broken? Let me go straight to 9. Wow. Okay, so it's just. Let's try 7. Okay, so 7, 8 turns back on. 7, 6 won't. So 7, 7. Okay, so 7.7 is the cutoff. That is pathetic. Meanwhile, the BK yesterday went down to 2 volts. Or no, actually it went below 2. It went to 1.5 before it finally shut off. But I think it wouldn't turn on unless it were at 2 or 2 something. But still, that's incredible. This is just, it's pretty sad. 7.7, that is a waste. Because if I go to 7.6, it won't turn back on. So it's basically dead. So 7.7 is the cutoff. That's not that great, but I mean, that still could be a decent majority of the battery because you're kind of at the point, well, I don't know. I'd have to look at the discharge curve of a 9 volt again, but I'm pretty sure it's like somewhere around 5.5 volts to 6 volts is where it really just drops off. So 7.7 seems really early to me. But the bench, oh, I guess it's not on. So the power supply is saying 4 milliamps, so that's not bad. And I'm sure it'll still go a while, but I don't think it's going to come anywhere close to doing what the BK will do. But I'm going to go do the math and try to figure out what the battery life for this should be. And also check the manual, maybe that'll say too. And then we can kind of compare and contrast or whatever. But yeah, I'll be right back. I'll go do that now. Okay, so I lied. Obviously I can't do the math if I don't know what the current draw is, and I don't want to trust the bench power supply because it's more accurate to use a multimeter. So I got the Voltcraft hooked up, and I still got this on. I reset the bench power supply back to 9 volts, so it's as if we have a fresh battery, because that will affect the current draw a little bit. Got this hooked up to the 5 volt reference still, and still reading good even 5 volts, and looks like it's drawing 3.3 milliamps. So now I'm going to go do the math, and in the meantime, hopefully I can kill 15 minutes, so then this will auto power off, and then we can see what the current draw is in its sleep state. Be right back. Alright, so it auto powered off, and I went ahead and did some calculations. It looks like it'll get somewhere between 180 to like 220 hours, somewhere in there. So right around 200 hours. If you went with one of those advanced lithium batteries, the Energizer Advanced Lithium, I think it is, you could probably go a bit longer than that, but yeah, not the greatest for just a standard multimeter, to be honest. It's a little on the weak side, but that's all things considered. I mean, that would probably last you a couple of years, so it's not that big of a deal. But it is lower than a lot of the other ones. In fact, that's actually I don't remember what this one was for sure, but they're kind of in the same neighborhood, and this has to drive a graphical OLED screen, so yeah. Now, interesting thing, this went to sleep, and this is reading 0. Now, 0, I could believe 0, because most of the ones that, still read like 20 microamps or something, if you hit a button, they wake back up. This one did not wake up. I physically had to move it back to off, or well, not just off. I had to physically move the range switch to a different range, and then that woke it up. So yeah, that's excellent if that's, how they did it. Because a lot of the other ones, they still read the button. So as soon as you hit one, it wakes up out of sleep. So yeah, that's excellent. I don't think you can get any better than 0. So yeah, but battery life could be better, but could be worse. Just there's just a lot of energy. Actually, I take that back. I don't think it'd do 180. And it's kind of hard. They give you some generic performance figures and capacities depending on. They usually give you like 3 different current draw ranges, and this is well below all of them. So I have to kind of do some proportional math to kind of guesstimate, and I forgot to take into account the extremely high voltage cutoff. So actually, I would say probably 100 to 150 would probably be more of an accurate runtime on these batteries. So yeah, which is, it's sad. There's so much potential left in those batteries, and they just piss it away. But whatever. It's for most people that's probably fine. I mean how many hours do you really use your multimeter in a year? You know, average person, I'm sure that would probably easily get them through a year, maybe more on single 9 volts. So it's probably not that big of a deal, but it just seems a little wasteful, and it seems like a lot of the other meters get considerably better battery life. So yeah, just worth noting. I guess I'll put all this equipment away, and then we'll kind of summarize everything about this multimeter. Alright, so the Extech EX430. Overall, I like it. You know, it's not a bad meter. It's a name brand. They have good customer service. They stand by their products, and they'll admit that they've had some faults with quality control. And if you do have problems, they'll take care of you. Now, that being said, it is scary the rate at which the quality control issues are seeping through. This one had that solder blob just flopping around in there. You know, you shook it and you can hear rattling inside, and it's just scary to think that made it through their quality control process. You think they would, I don't know, hear it and think, oh, that sounds wrong, but maybe it was stuck when they handled it and it came loose during shipment. I don't know. Either way, it's unacceptable, and it's just a little disheartening on a meter that's, well, I mean, I was able to get it for, what'd I say, 57, but retail price is considerably higher. It's getting close to the $100 range. It's like 80, 90, something like that. I think it's 80 US dollars. So it's by no means a bad meter. In fact, I mean, it's the name brand. It's UL listed, which is shocking. Does that just mean that it's been tested? But I don't know. It just seems weird to me that it's got 600 and 1000 volt cat ratings, but it has 250 volt fuses. I just assumed that wasn't an okay thing, but apparently it's still UL listed. I don't know if that means that they knocked down points for that, but they're still, had gone through UL's testing regimen or what. I'm not really familiar with that sort of stuff. Anyway, it's accurate. The display resolution could be a little higher. The 6000 would be better, but you saw though, it still did the job. It was pretty accurate for pretty much everything we tried. Continuity test is good. It's got relative, manual ranging, backlight, hold. I wish I had min-max, but of course most multimeters that include them don't do it in a manner that I find to be handy, so maybe it's not that big of a deal. Fuse is definitely weak, but as far as everything else, I think it's really not a bad meter. It feels rugged. It's got a good holster, good kickstand. It came with a good manual, the hanging strap thing. Probes are kind of cheap and probably the cheapest feeling part of the entire experience. Range switch isn't stellar, but that's just like a little minor nitpick. That's like somebody complaining about the dashboard of your car not being soft touch material. It doesn't, your car will still get you from point A to point B. It's just a minor complaint. You could say, well, for this price the car should have had a soft touch dash pad. Some people will care, some people won't. Most people, I think, would just want good performance for the money, so not that great feeling range switch won't really bother most people, I think. And yeah, big readable display with backlight. Kickstand is really stable. Continuity test is great. It's accurate. It's a name brand. I definitely would not fault you for buying this. It's a good meter. But definitely can't wait for them to move away from these EX multimeters and go to something new. And hopefully this time around they stick with Bryman, or even better, that'd be awesome if they made their own from scratch, but not a lot of companies do, so I wouldn't count on it. But then again, I think FLIR made a graphical data logging multimeter, direct competitor to the Fluke 289, I think, so, but that could be rebranded too, I don't know. But it seemed like an original model. I hadn't seen any other, even Chinese ones, that looked the same, so I don't know, I'm just rambling. But yeah, good meter. Price is actually pretty decent for what you get. I mean, it is true RMS. Do milliamps, millivolts, microamps. It'll do, yeah, capacitance range is kind of crappy. So if you need good capacitance testing capability, probably not your best choice. Then Amprobe would probably be the better one to get over like this one, for example. It'd be another name brand, and they're about the same price. As far as ruggedness and durability, this would probably be higher on the list. It's one of the few with a good removable separate rubber holster or surround, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, I don't really have a lot else to say about it. It's a good meter. If you're looking for a meter in the $50 range, you need a name brand, you like Extech, this isn't a terrible choice, but just know the few downsides that I've already mentioned that I'm not going to mention again because I'll just be going in circles. So, but yeah, hopefully that was helpful to someone, or at least entertaining, watching me ramble on about being UL listed, not knowing anything about it. Yeah, I will see you in the next video. Bye.